In this lecture, you will come up with a paint app that will draw circles and rectangles. Let's get started by going to STS. First, go to the circle and make sure these fields have setters and getters. Go to source, generate getters and setters, select all, and I want them after draw or after the last field, which is line color. Format it. Go to rectangle, do the same, select all the fields, source, generate getters and setters. Select all after fill style. Hit OK. Right click on the package, create a new class called PaintApp. Finish. This PaintApp class will have a single method called render. Its responsibility is to draw the circles or invoke the draw method on circle and rectangles. Render int number of shapes that the user wants. Here we can define an array to store all the shapes that we are going to create. So define a new array, shapes, shape array, so that we can store all the shapes that we are going to create in the loop in a second. New shape array, and the size is number of shapes plus 1, semicolon at the end. Use a for loop, int I is equal to 1. I is less than or equal to number of shapes I plus plus. Within the loop, we'll come up with a random logic. If I %2 double equal to 0, that is if it is even. If the index is even, then we will create circles. So shapes of I will be a circle is equal to new circle. Save it. And now we are going to set the radius, the line color and the fill color onto this shape. To do that, we'll have to typecast it to circle because shape does not have all those methods. Circle does. So shapes of I, typecast it to circle within brackets dot set. Let me get that right. Circle. We need an extra bracket at the beginning. Dot set color or set radius to start with. And I'm setting the radius to I, which is the number, the index, current index. So we are setting the values dynamically for the circle. Next, again, paste that 3 times because circle has radius. It has set line color. Let's set it to red. Red is the line color. Last one, set fill color. Fill color to whatever color you want. I'm going to set it to white. Lastly, within the if block, paste that line again, circle dot draw, or we can simply use shapes of I. Shapes of I dot draw. That will invoke the draw method on the circle, runtime polymorphism. Else, we'll have to come up with a similar code for rectangle. So we can copy this, paste it inside else, change this to new rectangle instead of a circle. And rectangle does not have set radius, so typecast it to rectangle. Copy that, paste it 2 more times. Rectangle dot set length to I. I'm using the index again as the length. Save it. Set breadth is the next method. Set breadth. Let's say I plus I. We are doubling the index for the breadth. And lastly, set fill style to dotted. I want a dotted rectangle. And shapes of I dot draw. That will complete our paint app. So we are taking the number of shapes, creating an array of shapes of that size, and inside the for loop we are creating half circles when it is even, and half we are filling it with rectangles. And we have set all the properties on those. Let's create a test class and invoke the paint method. New class test main finish, Control D, PaintApp, app is equal to new PaintApp, app dot render, and pass in, let's say 10 format, run it, and you see a lot of drawing a null with length 1. So it's when it tries to draw a rectangle, it gets null. Let's see what the problem is. That is because we haven't defined a constructor in the rectangle, but it has successfully created 10 shapes, one rectangle and one circle. Go to rectangle and create a constructor inside it to fix the label problem. Rectangle. Delete this, assign the label to rectangle. That will fix the null problem in the output. Run it, and this time you will see drawing a rectangle with length 1, breadth 2, fill style is dotted. Similarly, drawing a circle with radius 2, it is using the I value as the radius, fill color is white, line color is red, and so on. But the key is not to simply come up with the paint app. The problem here is that every time we are creating the circle, a new object is being instantiated. Right here, when you create a new circle, a new object will be created. Similarly, when you create a new rectangle, a new object has to be created, because the state here, all these fields are on the objects themselves. So we need to set them on each one of them. We are going to move this state in the next lecture to the method itself as parameters, and we will solve this issue of creating a lot of objects in memory by using the Flyweight pattern. So if this number goes up to, let's say 100,000, then we'll end up having 100,000 objects in the memory. We don't want to do that. So we'll fix that in the next lecture.